Hi folks, it's Sean, Victorian Piper. A very long time no see, and I do apologise for that. But if you'll remember all the way back to my my last video, which was probably nearly 2 months now, basically I was explaining that I'd started a new job, and that's kept me fully occupied and still does, obviously. It's going well, I'm enjoying it, and yeah, hopefully I think it's going to pan out to be quite a good year, work-wise anyway. So obviously my other job, which is at the Victorian town, Bristol, that's been very quiet, unfortunately. The museum had a winter shutdown, which is usual. It's basically most of January pretty much is shut. But the museum has now since reopened. However, all of the steam, so the engines we operate, are all out of ticket, which means their boilers need recertifying and they need some work doing. So that's going to take some time, unfortunately. So I did go in 2 or 3 weeks ago to tidy up the cycle showroom, which I think I've mentioned before. And if there's any interest, I'll certainly take the camera down and show you around. But I don't know how many of you are interested in old bikes. But anyway, let me know and I can certainly sort that out. It does, however, give me the opportunity that as the weather improves, as we come into spring, which we are now here in the UK, I can take you around other areas of the Victorian town that I haven't shown you before, especially down at the bottom end of site, which I don't tend to get down very often when I'm in costume and working because I can't leave the engines for too long. And also there are a number of other museums as part of the trust, which again I've mentioned the odd one. There's the China Works, the Toll Museum, the Museum of Iron, Ingenuity. So I think this year I'm definitely going to make the effort to take you guys and show you around all the different sites as well. So for this video, a bit of an update, which obviously we've just done. And then I thought I'd do 2 other things just to give you some bonus stuff, although I'll try not to drag it out too long. And that will be a small little YABO. I've had a little package through from Hermit Piper, Tim. So thank you very much, Tim. I know what's in there, but I thought, seeing as the package has turned up and I'm going to do a video, why not show you guys? And also I thought I'd do a mini tobacco review. I've not done one in such a long time, and I've picked quite an oddity for this one. Now, I'll show you the tobacco now because I've got it here. I'll do the YABO, but then we'll get to the tobacco review. It's a bit of a strange one because it is a very, well, I think quite an unknown tobacco. So it's Gareth and Hogarth produced, so produced in Kendal, but exclusively for the US market. Now it's actually, and I'm struggling to find one here, if I can bring it up to the camera, it's actually Bob's Square Cut. Now, if you can imagine, that was a bit of a square shape. They're generally standard flakes, which have been cut a couple of extra times to make little squares. Now, this is supposedly Bob's chocolate flake, but without the chocolate topping. So what makes it Bob's Square Cut? So, like I say, same base tobaccos. So Virginia, is there a bit of Burley dark fired? I should have looked it up, I never do. But the addition of a little bit of Latakia, which is what gives Bob's chocolate flake that little edge over the cocoa. There's the bit of Latakia. Difference here is they've applied that delightful Gareth. It's not so much the Lakelandy one, but this is very much like brown flake aromatic in terms of that smell of almost like Turkish Delight. If you're into that kind of thing, it's lovely. But anyway, we'll get that done in a minute. Next up is the YABO. So here is the box. I'll pause the video because you don't want to watch me messing about with it, but then I'll show you the goodies in here. And I've just realised quite a big thing, actually. I can't believe I forgot to mention this as I started the intro. Good news on a certain front. We'll get to that in a minute. Let me just get this box open, I'll be right back. Okay, box opened. Nice little message on there, thank you, Tim. And let's have a look what we've got. Get this last bit of packaging off. Like I say, I knew what he was sending. So obviously, as some of you know, and some of you have asked about actually, cigars and how I'm getting on with cigars. So I'm still thoroughly enjoying exploring the huge array of cigars, obviously where they come from, what they consist of, the leaf types. Very similar to my pipe tobacco taste, I tend to lean towards the bolder flavours. Quite enjoy the Maduro type wrapper cigars, and Tim has been smoking something that is something of a favourite of his, and very kindly offered to send me one, and he's actually sent me two, so I very much appreciate that, Tim. Thank you. And they definitely appeal to what I was just saying about those older tastes. Let me just grab one out of the packet for you. He's kindly put a little Boveda in there to keep them in good condition, but I'll go straight in my Tupperware. And they are fine looking sticks, and I think I'm going to have to be a bit careful when I smoke these. My tolerance to vitamin N has increased quite a bit, but these look pretty punchy. I'm not going to take it out of its wrapper. Let me just double check. Yeah, so it's a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, and it's I can bring it up, Nica Rustica. Very dark looking stick, and as Tim has alluded to when he smoked them in, I think he did a review actually, said it's a very bold flavour. So very much look forward to that. Thank you, Tim, appreciated. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the announcement, or not so much the announcement, but the news I completely forgot about, and that is clay pipe making. Now, you're probably well aware I've been trying my best to get into the clay pipe making, both, you know, being taught the skills and actually then getting to actually do some of it within the museum context. We kind of almost got it off the ground last summer. It didn't happen. The Pipeworks in Broseley opened for a very short time, and in the few weeks they were open, I just didn't manage to get down there, and I've not met up with Rex Key, who was going to be showing me the ropes initially. But in the meantime, I had an introduction from one of our fine fellows at the Victorian town to somebody he knew who also made clay pipes, lived locally, and he'd spoken to him and was more than happy to show me the ropes again. So the chap's name is Tony Mugridge. He actually makes and did work at Bliss Hill for a time, but his trade was sort of, I think he was ex-military, was making bricks and tiles of all eras, but going back as far as medieval in terms of the style and types he makes, and he still makes them today from his home. And I went to see him, had a really good afternoon, 5 hours I think I was there, again teaching me the techniques and how to work the clay, how to sort of use it with the mould without the sort of factory vice presses they had, which was handy because obviously I haven't got one. And he very, very kindly at the end of it sent me away with some gifts. So what do we have here? We have a pipe mould. So as you can see, it's in two halves. In fact, if I show that up to the camera, you can very clearly see the shape of the pipe that will be made in this mould. Now, these were aluminium casts that Tony had made from some of the cast iron originals. So this isn't a cast iron original. And to be fair, I wouldn't have expected him to give away one of the sort of old original moulds. But this is absolutely perfect for me to practice on. So as you can see, for the basics, like I say, you've got your shape, you manipulate your clay into a rough shape, drop it into the mould, put the other half on, they get squeezed together and that forms the shape. This top section here is for you to run a knife, because obviously the clay will sort of squeeze up above, and you can slide a knife across there and that will take the top off. And then through the hole in the middle, you'll have a sort of a dowel type of air that will sort of plunge down and form the bowl. And for the actual, I've gone out of sequence here slightly, but to form the actual draw hole, use a steel wire which goes down through the centre. And obviously the skill is getting it to come out at the bottom of the bowl but not pushing past it, and obviously getting it nice and straight down there. You can feed it in beforehand, feed it into the clay before you put it in, or these are actually designed, and that's why there's an extra channel here. They're designed so that you can actually put the steel rod in after you've put them all together, and that section there will hopefully keep it straight through the bowl. But that's the theory. So he gave me that. He gave me a couple of the steel draw wires. He also gave me a sizable chunk of the clay. So I need a couple of other little bits and bobs to sort of get me started, but otherwise I'm pretty much set up to practice, and that's where it's all going to come down to, isn't it? It's all going to come down to the practice. He also very kindly gave me another mould. This one is made of brass, and this is definitely for when I've had quite a lot of practice. There we go. You can see how much bigger that one is. Now, in terms of the actual bowl size, it's not much bigger than that small one I've shown you, but as you can see, it's not quite a churchwarden in length. It's got the sort of cutty style foot on it there, but as you can imagine, trying to thread the wire along this one skillfully without poking out the sides and all over the shop takes quite a lot of, well, skill. So, clay pipe making, hopefully back on the agenda. Right then, to the tobacco. So as I said, Bob's Square Cut. So Bob's Chocolate Flake base tobacco, like I say, that's Virginia mainly, with a bit of Latakia, which I don't think is too much. I don't think it's any more than 10%. But with a very, like I say, Turkish delight almost, very brown flake aromatic-esque, if you've had that, topping to it. So I'll get this loaded up, get it lit, and I'll let you know what I think. See you in a minute. So we're lit and underway. And this is only the second or maybe third bowl I've had of this. I bought it on a bit of a whim, purely because I had no idea what it was. Never heard anyone talk about it, mention it. And like I said, it was a bit of a weird one, that it was US exclusive, which I find a little bit strange, because I know our US cousins tend to be not so keen on the Lakeland and sort of floral, very sort of pungent Kendall tobaccos. But I've got to say, for someone who very much likes Lakeland, it's absolutely superb. The Latakia, it's definitely in there, and I quite like that, because most of the obviously the Kendall Lakeland-based tobaccos, whether they're sort of like the brown flake or it's the dark flake, Coniston, cut plug, Bosun, all those sort of come out of slightly different Lakeland toppings and base tobaccos. None of them actually have Latakia in them. And like I say, although this one has, it is subtle, but it does add just that little extra bit of interest, I think. What I would say is, if you like Bob's Chocolate Flake, if you've ever had it, I think you'd definitely like this one, assuming you like that more floral, sort of almost like candy type toppings. Like I said, very Turkish delight. If you can imagine the smell and taste of Turkish delight, this one. It's not overpowering though. Nowhere near as strong as brown flake aromatic, which, like I say, I very much think the topping's the same. What I do know is I'm going to spend a very enjoyable 45 minutes or an hour or so puffing on this while I get back to work. So just to say, I didn't actually show you my pipe. Lovely Peterson Sherlock Holmes Square. It's a really big bowl on this, so that's why I say it's going to be at least an hour having to go on this. But yes, let's get back to my new job. As I said, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I certainly don't want to upset them. I've been here, or I've been with the company, trying to look at the date, pretty much bang on a month, so all good so far. But anyway, hope you're all doing well. Hope you've put up with the waffle up to this point, because every time I say I'm going to do a short video, it's not, is it? But yes, you all keep safe, and hopefully I'll try and make more of an effort to get on here more often, especially while I can get to the museum and film as a civilian, if you like. So yeah, we'll definitely take you around some of the other museums, show you the sights. All right, catch you later then. Ta-da.